Time for consequences. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, finally, the leftist agitators masquerading as virtuous crusaders may finally be held accountable for the threats against ICE agents and ICE operations. Now, last night, we reported on Congressman Salud Carbajal's outrageous doxing of an ICE officer during a raid at a cannabis farm. Now, that staffer was then sent to the ER with hand injuries after he was hit by a rock from a protester. Now, our point here, everybody involved in putting this officer's life in danger should be charged under 18 U.S.C. Section 111. Otherwise, this is not going to stop. So you can make it a conspiracy charge. Now, Section 111, which prohibits forcibly impeding, assaulting, or interfering with certain federal staffers, is a serious crime. But we just learned that the DOJ is no longer playing nice here, dropping federal indictments against 9 hard-left activists early yesterday morning at their homes in Spokane, Washington. Now, all charges involved alleged unlawful interference with ICE operations at a June 11th protest and involved more protests the day before yesterday. Now, here's what went down that led to these arrests.
You! Pieces of
repeatedly blocking ICE vehicles when ICE officials were inside and thus could not move. Now, the 9 suspects are exactly what you'd expect and include Ben Stuckart, a former city council president. And they got him for a conspiracy to impede or injure federal officers. Then there's Jack Archer, an organizer with Spokane Community Against Racism, otherwise known as SCAR, same charges there. And Justice For All, who's a perpetual organizer who sits on the Spokane Human Rights Commission, same charges, including injury to an officer. Then there's Mickey Hatfield, same charges, with an additional charge, including intent to cause another felony or use of a dangerous weapon. Then there's Bahun Mavalawala, the son of Mahawala Sr., who was the campaign manager for Bernadine Bank. She ran for Congressional District 5 House of Reps seat in 2024, charged with conspiracy to impede or injure officers. Colin Muncy, same charges. Bobby Silva, more conspiracy to impede or interfere, and with intent to cause physical contact or intent to cause another felony. Then these 2 buttes, Thalia Ramirez and Aaron Lang, both charged with conspiracy to impede or injure officers. Now, court documents show the federal grand jury found that the basis for the conspiracy charges includes use of force or threats against and intimidation of federal agents, again, in order to impede and thwart the processing and transport of federal detainees. The suspects were held in U.S. Marshals lockup in the federal building. I love that because nobody knew where they were and they were not sure where to go to protest. So most were set to be released later today, but these charges are a start. Now, a local criminal defense attorney said he expected more people would be arrested on more serious charges. Now, of course, rather than expressing shock at the alleged unlawful conduct, the local mayor, Lisa Brown in Spokane, does the opposite, calling it a politically motivated action and a perversion of our justice system, and saying Trump's ICE is creating widespread fear across the community. Now, this is typical sanctuary mayor nonsense, putting illegals before Americans and the rule of law. And she talks about widespread fear. What do you think the people of Spokane felt when Jose Efren Gonzalez Rodriguez, an illegal alien from Mexico, was sentenced to drug trafficking and firearms charges? He was caught with more than 60,000 fentanyl pills and stolen weapons. Imagine how many people he killed. Now, literally, they think that you should suffer so they can celebrate illegal aliens. That's where we are in the United States. Now, they may have the open borders Marxists on their side, but not most Americans. The new Harvard-Harris poll shows huge support for deporting criminals. Look at these numbers. 93% of Republicans support it, 70% of independents, and even 59% of Democrats. But it doesn't matter to elected Democrats because they're trying to rebuild their credibility among their radical base. They want to turn up the rhetoric, which will only endanger ICE and also law-abiding Americans. So it's all Nazi imagery all the time for the young punks like honorary squad member Max Frost.
They want more people behind bars. They want to incarcerate more people, and they want to ethnically cleanse this country of certain types of immigrants. They're not going for every person here that's undocumented, because when I was in that internment camp in the Everglades, I didn't see any Europeans who overstayed their visa. I saw nothing but Latino men and Haitian men, type of people that look like me.
Reprehensible. It's the same defamatory rhetoric at the state level as well. In a social media post, Rhode Island Democratic State Rep Enrique Sanchez referred to ICE as Nazi Gestapo thugs following an ICE arrest of what he called our neighbor in Providence. So who was that neighbor that the state rep was referring to, so hell-bent on protecting? Well, it is an MS-13 gang member named Rene Mendoza Meza, who had pending charges for fentanyl trafficking and had been released from local custody. Why? Because of Rhode Island's sanctuary policies. Another upstanding citizen. And even on the rare occasion, by the way, a Democrat agrees that ICE shouldn't be attacked or doxxed, they always add a but.
Yes, they have been doxxed, but they started out under the Trump administration with this posture, and I think that is terrorizing the community as well.
He's no more convincing without a tie. There they go again, though. In this warped thinking, ICE are the real thugs. Many officers, by the way, happen to be Hispanic. And the thugs, the real thugs, are the heroes to the Democrats. But as the arrests in Spokane indicate, the criminals aren't just the aliens. They're those who aid and abet their illegal activity and presence in the country. American activists embedded in local government, radical NGOs, and universities. If they're engaged in criminal activity, they should be charged and do time. And speaking of academia, meet Jonathan Anthony Caravello, a math and philosophy prof at California State University in the Channel Islands. He was arrested last week by federal agents for allegedly throwing a tear gas container at ICE officers. He'll be arraigned on August 1st. Of course, naturally, his school is standing by their man. Now, imagine if this professor was accused of merely standing near the ellipse on January 6th at the Trump rally. Oh, he would have lost tenure if we ever had it. Look, the Democrats are shooting themselves in the foot by playing footsie with those who would shoot Border Patrol for real. Ambushes, blockades, rocks and bricks thrown, shots fired. This has got to stop. Meanwhile, Trump is doing what the people are clamoring for, deporting as many as possible, as quickly as possible. And, of course, he's stopping the influx at the border. Check this out. June, another record low for border crossings, 6,072, with 0 releases into the United States. In June of last year, by contrast, under Biden, they released 27,000 into the United States. That was after they had it under control. Thank God for President Trump and his team. Do not let up. Prosecute unlawful behavior, whether by illegal aliens or paid activists. America is watching, and most of us are cheering. And that's the angle.
So the Messiah told the Democrats to quit the navel-gazing and whining and start acting tough. So what's Hammering Hank doing? Singing.
Congressman Hank Johnson coming to give you some more ear candy. Died by suicide. Believe that, and you must be blind. You've been telling us you released the file, but where are they? Dreamsicle on a summer night in a folding armchair.
Now, Whoopi singing a little bit of a different tune. She said, Barack, don't you point your skinny little finger at me.
This has not been about Democrats laying back. This has been about y'all. This has been about y'all because their messaging was always the same. Democrats have been angry at what this man tried to do the last time. They've been angry this time. So I, with much due respect to you both, I believe you are pointing the finger at the wrong person when you say Democrats.
Whoopi's tired of Barack telling the brothers and sisters what to do. She's in the trenches every day, while he's in Honolulu getting henpecked by Michelle. The Messiah can't perform miracles anymore. And the God said he's a day late and $1 short.
It's mind-boggling to me when I hear people like President Obama say things that regular, everyday people been saying for years. We've been saying Democrats were cowards for a decade. We've been saying Democrats need to toughen up. And that cowardice is, why we're in the position that we're in now. So it's just wild to hear President Obama say that now as if Democrats haven't been cowards for the past decade.
The cowardly lying Democrats should look in the mirror. Barack puppet mastered Kamala's campaign, and now everyone's leaking that he didn't think she was tough enough, so he hid her in a bunker.
They were afraid, right? They didn't trust her. They had her so wound tight. Like, if the cursing Kamala would have gone on the broadcast, she would have killed it.
Obama wouldn't let the best-looking attorney general talk to other guys. Look what happened when he let her talk to Brett Baer. Catastrophe. You cannot hide presidential candidates and then blame them for losing. You got to just leave it all out in the field. Biden still thinks he's running. So they took away his phone and changed his number. But he got a new one, and he called the New York Times to tell them that the Autopen signed the pardons because his hand was too tired. Joe with a phone is dangerous, and Democrats think something's up.
I think something else is coming. Why did he pick the phone up after 5 years and call them? Something is coming. I suspect they're laying the predicate that he delegated and they put out these like drug offenses, which seem small because there's a bigger case coming.
I agree.
If Hunter was selling pardons, I wouldn't use my own John Hancock either. I'd give it to the Autopen. Joe's the last gasp of the baby boomer Democrats before the party brings in fresh blood for the midterms. But they're filling their ranks with communists who will poison their chances for the general. Zoolander in New York, he wants government-run supermarkets and tax hikes on whites. And now staffers are pulling him away from the press like he's the big guy. Watch.
Building this coalition further and further such that it reflects the beauty and the breadth of our city. Thank you for your question, Ms.
I think we're done here.
Channel 7,
We're going to go. Come on.
We haven't had a chance to meet.
We're wrapping up. Sorry, folks.
Now, what do Sleepy Joe and communists have in common? The more they talk, the more their staff wets the bed. In Minneapolis, the sheets are soaked. Democrats are running this guy for mayor. His name's Omar, and he wants to turn Minneapolis into Somalia.
I understand that our Somali communities are all connected to each other here in Minnesota and back home, and I ask for your support. There's always been a link between our community here as well as back home, and I'm running to bridge that gap and unite all of us.
A link between Minneapolis and Somalia? That may be a bridge too far. Omar wants price controls. He wants to defund the police and Trump-proof the city. Well, shiver me timbers, because these commie pirates are hijacking the Democrat Party's ship. The consultants, they see the writing on the wall. They're telling campaigns, if you can't handle these swashbucklers, now is a great time to retire. So who's going to save the Democrat Party from this ship of fools? Here comes the great white hope, Captain Gavin Newsom. Barack told him to act tough, and Gavin's already cursing like a sailor.
Mother no bull believe that. Out of here, the son of a God gift. I despise me for the I read too.
Gavin's state suffering from devastating fires and riots, so he left. He went to South Carolina to kiss babies and do 4-hour podcasts. Gavin's not officiating gay weddings anymore. He's talking to Navy SEALs and trying to act like one of the guys, but he keeps forgetting to uncross his legs. In the first few minutes, he talked about bow hunting, skeet shooting, and called the president a son of a bitch. And then he claims his hair caught on fire in the Palisades.
I was up there in the hills with these guys, and we all turned around when my hair literally burst on. There's a video of it. And they threw me in the car. The guy hits my hair and throws me in the car and says, "Get out of here."
Gavin uses so much grease, the smallest spark turned him into Burning Man. We asked the governor's office to give us the video of him looking like Michael Jackson in a Pepsi commercial, but we haven't heard back. If anyone has the video of Gavin's hair going up in flames, text it to us. We want to see the tape. Maybe he got sunburned and made a mistake. He says he's made a lot of them.
What are some of the things during COVID that you think maybe were a mistake?
We were concerned it was airborne, and folks, we were worried about people being outside even. And we realized then, after the fact, what the hell are we doing shutting down the beaches and open areas?
Do you think that some of the restrictions that you put in place created a mental health crisis by being locked up, by not being able to enjoy the outdoors?
It was devastating. Come on, man, of course.
Newsom says he was wrong about lockdowns, and now he's saying he's wrong about sex changes for 6-year-olds.
Is 8 years old too young?
Yeah, I mean, look, I now that I have a 9-year-old, just became 9. Come on, man, I get it. So those are legit. It's interesting. Just the issue of age. It's interesting. As someone that's been so focused on equality, broadly, LGBT rights, particularly gay marriage. Mm-hmm. The trans issue for me is also novel. It's over the last few years, I'm trying to understand as much as anyone else. Whole pronoun thing.
The whole pronoun thing. Once he got going, the governor couldn't stop talking about what his party was wrong about.
I mean, do you feel like the last administration was divisive?
I think, we got ideological, failed at the border. And they've sent me 2 bills I've had to veto where they didn't want me to cooperate with ICE for these 11,000+ people. I just think they're wrong. My party's wrong on that.
Newsom's running on Democrats being wrong on everything. Well, that's a great platform if you're a Republican, so good luck. The governor even went a step further and said Democrats should wash their mouths out with soap.
Because you oppose sports does not make you a bigot, doesn't make you homophobic. There are certain people that cannot stand the community, and that's different. But the vast majority of the folks I come into contact that think it's unfair are good human beings, and I think we should treat them accordingly.
Well, Newsom better swallow a big bar of Irish Spring. He called Trump disgusting, appalling, sick, misogynist, narcissist, racist, unfit, and delusional. And after that, Gavin says he loves Rogan, guns, and the red, white, and blue.
Got to show our pride and patriotism a little bit more, not be shy about it. We celebrate all this, but we don't celebrate what unites us. The United States of America, these enduring principles of our founding fathers, taking the best of Greek democracy and the Roman Republic. 3 independent, co-equal branches of government, the rule of law. What a gift. They were imperfect, but man, what a god gift to this country. We're about to celebrate 250th anniversary.
Gavin has transitioned back into a man, and we're proud of him. Because before Gavin detransitioned, he sounded like this.
Black community does not need to change. We need to change. One thing is clear to me. We have a hierarchy of values in this country that diminishes certain people based on their color of the skin.
A history, though, that must acknowledge the shameful mistakes of our country's past. After all, America was literally built on the backs of black people.
Newsom's America's first AI politician. His Silicon Valley donors figured out how to make an algorithm to make him electable outside of California. And after undergoing political sex change surgery, Gavin is now a patriotic, anti-lockdown, trans surgery pronoun, and pro-border governor who loves capitalism, the Second Amendment, and the founders. Would Gavin admit he was wrong about everything if he wasn't running for president?
Are you gearing up for a 2028 run?
No, I'm blown away the Democrats' obsession with just that sort of perfect person that's going to say, sort of this John Wayne thing, this romantic version of that person's going to save the day. Meanwhile, we're not doing the hard work. The more Trump keeps doing what he does, the more compelled I am to think about it. I've never felt more outrage, more anger.
Gavin's leaving the door open to come out of the California closet and save the party from the pirates. He's basically running as a 57-year-old Joe Biden, a straight white male who isn't as crazy as the rest of the communists on the ship. But the way it's looking, with this gnarly crew of identity pirates, they might make him walk the plank first, which might be a good thing if his hair's on fire.
And welcome to Hannity. And tonight, the radical left is inconsolable. Their rage is completely out of control. On a positive note, they thankfully are no longer burning Teslas and attacking car dealerships. But unfortunately, and this is where it gets serious, they have a new target, federal immigration officials. Now attacks on ICE are up a whopping 830%. I wonder if it might have a little something to do with comments like these. Take a look.
If you've got a facility that's holding people indefinitely and there's no legal process to get in there and there's no legal process to get out, that is traditionally called a concentration camp or an internment camp.
This points to something bigger. They want more people behind bars. They want to incarcerate more people, and they want to ethnically cleanse this country.
We have a message for conspiracy nut Rachel Maddow and all her friends. And also coming up, we're going to show you the worst of the worst. But it's not just the Democrats. The legacy state-run media mob has become totally unglued and unhinged. Take a look.
Also, I want to respond to you saying that I was hyperbolic when I talked about a reign of terror.
Because that is hyperbolic.
No, it might be hyperbolic for you as a white man.
Oh, okay.
It's certainly not hyperbolic for me as a
racist
Latino. No, I'm not being racist.
It's incredible to dismiss my opinion for being a white man.
No, I'm not
is
dismissing
racist.
your opinion.
All right, we have that entire exchange that's coming up straight ahead, but we begin with one of the reasons Democrats are now lashing out, and that is President Trump has been, well, incredibly successful. Frankly, beyond even my wildest imagination. He is fulfilling promises, and America is on the mend. The Republican Party is even working together for a change for the most part. Have little intramural squabbles here and there. At the same time, the Democratic Party is a dumpster fire. But that's not stopping Chucky Schumer from putting a brave face and doing what he does best, lying to all of you, the American people. Take a look.
The bottom line is Democrats are united. We are fighting the high costs that American people pay. We are fighting the health care cuts Republicans are making. We are fighting the horrible bill that they just passed. Democrats are united, and we have been far more united, frankly, than the Republicans.
Oh, really? In reality, they're not unified at all. In fact, Schumer is a party leader in name only. Same with House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Only in name only. As we speak, the Democratic Party, it is undergoing what is a scary transformation. Even Chuck Schumer himself is facing a possible primary. If he does, he will lose. The truth is, melodramatic socialists are now ruling the Democratic Party with an iron fist. The establishment Democrats, people like Schumer, Jeffries, they are completely powerless. They are terrified and they are paralyzed. AOC, the squad, Jasmine Crockett, that's right, Comrade Bernie Sanders, and, Pocahontas. They're all leading the way. But tonight, the rising star, the person stealing the spotlight, an actual Marxist, communist named Zoran Mamdani. As we affectionately like to refer to him on this program, Marxist Mamdani is the Democratic Party's nominee to be the next mayor of New York City. No wonder people are leaving in droves. Now, Mamdani has called for the government to seize the means of production. Confiscate private homes, set up government-run grocery stores. Grocery stores have a profit margin of 1 to 3%. He wants to defund the police, end cash bail, raise taxes, especially on people in, quote, whiter neighborhoods. Hadn't heard that one before. And as an added bonus, Mamdani seemingly supports a global intifada against Jewish people. But like any good socialist, well, really Marxist statist, to each according to their need, from each according to their ability. It takes the new Green Deal, puts it on steroids and human growth hormone. When he runs out of other people's money, he knows just where to turn in his life. Mommy and daddy. Take a look.
I think that the lack of matching funds makes class a major determinant in who can run and who can succeed when it comes to running for office. You know, I worked until January, and then I took time away from my job. And one of the major reasons I could do so was because I knew that if I ran out of my savings, my family would be able to support me. And that is not a luxury that many people have.
Marxist Mamdani can run to mommy and daddy. He grew up in a world of privilege. His parents are ultra wealthy. Outside of a couple of years in local government, short stint as a rapper, Mamdani This guy's never had a real job, doesn't know how the real world works, doesn't understand basic economics. Now he wants to run the wealthiest, the most complex city in the entire world. The once greatest city in the world is now becoming an Adam Schiff hole. But don't expect Zohran Mamdani to answer any tough questions. You know, if someone in the media would actually ask him something important, his campaign, they have a plan for that. Loud music, interruption. Take a look.
Thank you for your question, Ms.
I think we're done here.
Channel 7,
We're going to go. Come on.
We haven't had a chance to meet.
We're wrapping up. Sorry, folks.
Okay.
We're wrapping up. I'm so sorry, guys.
Sorry. Let's talk about this notion that
You mere peons, shush with those questions. How dare you ask a question? You know, we have Marxist Mamdani would be a glaring disaster for the most, publicized city in the entire world. He's not only Marxist, running to be the mayor of a big American city. This now radical socialist senator is now in the running to be in charge of Minneapolis. This cancer is growing within Democratic Party radicalized ranks. This new radicalized Democratic Party, they're overjoyed. They are delusional. We're very happy for them. Already the entire party is underwater with Americans, polling at a pretty low 40%, which is even lower than June. And get this, according to another poll, Kamala Harris, she is the front runner for 2028. I'll take that match any day of the week. And to top it off, the congenital liar, Adam Schiff, he's now being accused of mortgage fraud by the president of the United States. Didn't he get one of those preemptive pardons? Just wonder maybe what the reason might be. Anyway, at the very same time, the state-run legacy media mob continues to push deranged conspiracy theories about Donald Trump. What a shock. They live Trump lives in their head 24/7. They can't help themselves at this point. If the dog bites, the bee stings, you're feeling sad, blame Trump, spread a conspiracy theory. Take a look.
Do you worry about Donald Trump and Stephen Miller and some of these types monkeying around with the midterms and the way we do elections in this country? I mean, with what they're trying to pull these days, they don't want accountability. They don't want Democrats getting the gavels in the House and the Senate, be able to hold hearings and start impeachment proceedings and so on. I mean, you worry about that, James?
In a short word, yes. In the longer word, very.
I think it's insane, honestly, to just assume we're going to have normal elections next year. I don't assume that.
Oh, fake news Acosta now believes in election integrity. Okay, Joy Reid, same thing. This is a delusional, insane group of people. Obama, by the way, is so panicked, he is now begging, literally, for Democrats to toughen up and quit their whining. And his former chief of staff, Rombo, Deadfish, Emanuel, he's openly worried about the state of his own party. But he couldn't get elected. He'd probably be considered a moderate, which he's not. Take a look.
Just to give you a sense of how bad we are, Democratic Party is less popular than Elon Musk right now. That should be like a wake-up call how bad. The Democratic Party, we disappoint you. And I think if you look at these numbers, the Democrats are harder on the Democratic Party than others. And the reason is because they got disappointed. And they have every right to be disappointed in the leadership.
Now, a little advice from my Democratic friends. The constant whining from Democrats is less of a concern than the rampant extremism. They have socialism, communism, defunding the police, open borders, gender-affirming care for minors, taxpayer-funded sex change operations for illegals and for convicts, free college for illegals, coupled with, well, tampons in grade school boys' bathrooms. It's very deeply unpopular in the country. And all for good reason.
Yes, indeed. All right. I get it. You're just clapping because the AC is on. Happy Tuesday, everyone. So, according to a new poll, Kamala Harris is the front runner for the 2028 Democratic presidential primary. She's up by 16 points and 16 pints. Meanwhile, Mayor Pete is in second place, which is quite a change for him since he isn't used to being behind a woman. No, he's always leading. Politically, he's always ahead. Debbie Wasserman Schultz complained that alligator Alcatraz is making migrants brush their teeth where they poop. Many people point out that it's called a bathroom. Next thing they'll be accused of is heating up their food in the kitchen. The country's largest teachers union believes fighting Trump is more important than teaching reading and writing, claiming Trump is the worst thing to happen to America since Al-Qaeda bombed the Titanic. Soft landing with that joke, huh? At a private fundraiser last week, Barack Obama told Democrats to, quote, toughen up, which is the same thing Michelle says to him before strapping on the flesh hammer. Still don't know what a flesh hammer is, but use your noggin. A Brazilian brothel introduced a 50% Trump tax on U.S. customers, although they claim there will be no taxes on just the tip. A rotting corpse was discovered in a white van in New York City. So that's where I left him, said one woman. Oh. Easy peasy. Single Disney fans are getting their own dating app. Fun fact, I went on it and they said I wasn't tall enough to ride any of the women. Tori Spelling confessed that her ex-husband wanted her to role play as her Beverly Hills 90210 character, Donna Martin, in bed. That way, when he puts the paper bag over her head, it's nothing personal. You know, I'm proud of that joke. Finally, President Trump said he regrets having to use the same desk that Biden used in the Oval Office. But it's a lot more fun when someone is under it, said one man. So Democrats like Stacey Abrams are calling Trump an autocrat, protesting his illegal behavior. Of course, she's doing it while brazenly violating elevator weight limits. But talk about a contrast. Trump's being called an autocrat based on imaginary claims from Democrats, while the left ignores what the Biden White House did in reality. Right now, Joe wants to convince us that he was behind those pardons signed with the Autopen, when even he can't convince us he can put on his own pants. But the ex-pres rose from his coffin for 10 minutes with the New York Times and said he granted all pardons orally. Didn't Bill Clinton get impeached for that? Yeah. Now, Biden claims he made every decision, which sounds like the cuck that's holding the camera when his wife's being banged by another guy. Oh, I wanted this. That's a great analogy, and I don't care. But at least the Times didn't take his word for it. They added, Biden did not individually approve each name he and aides confirmed. And instead, he signed off on the standards used to determine which convicts would qualify. His team then took care of the details and slammed it through with Autopen, with his chief of staff giving the final go-ahead. But you can't use Autopen without the president's consent. And do we really think he was able to give that? He was more out of it than Bill Cosby's dates. Ooh. Oh, Bill Cosby fans. So what are these standards that they used? Out of the 25 documents Biden signed, 2 granted pardons to thousands, including criminals, murderers, and child abusers. Those standards were so low, Charles Manson wishes he was alive to qualify. The Kids for Cash judge sent children to prison in exchange for kickbacks, including one young man who later killed himself. Joe commuted his sentence, probably while watching Transformers 2 in his PJs. One ghoul sexually assaulted and murdered 2 young girls, then murdered another woman. Biden commuted his sentence too. So how would you feel if your president let your family members kill her off death row? And how would you feel if it turned out the president's just a drooling vegetable and some unelected bureaucrat actually made that decision? The Times also reports that Biden gave oral decisions at meetings, but the assistants who wrote down Joe's decisions, they weren't in the room when he made them. So you're saying Joe's inner circle wasn't making the calls? And you're telling me we should take the Biden White House's word for it after all the gaslighting they and the media put us through? We're talking about the president who needed to be tased to wake him up from an afternoon nap. I get it. It's true. Other presidents have used Autopen before. Obama did. Trump used it. It's usually used for responding to letters, like when I used mine to answer Geraldo's request for money. So is the Autopen, I think, maybe one of the biggest scandals we've had in 50 to 100 years? Right, Mr. P?
The Autopen, I think, is maybe one of the biggest scandals that we've had in 50 to 100 years. This is a tremendous scandal. And I know the people on the other side of the, see that desk, that Resolute desk? Unfortunately, he used it before me. I guarantee he knew nothing about what he was signing. I guarantee it.
Yeah, the pardon power is the president's most absolute, and Biden abused it like Dr. Jill abused him. So do we just say, well, that was terrible, I hope it never happens again? No, you don't do that with crime. You punish the crime. It's why I've got a lifetime ban from the Planet Fitness steam room. I can't be the only one who pees on the sauna rocks. So we need to investigate and cancel everything that Biden wasn't aware of. Biden might have signed off on some horrible crimes, but it would be a worse crime if we did the same. But this veiled process leaves more questions than answers. So we went right to the source. Joining us now is the individual at the center of this scandal, Autopen. Thanks for being with us, Autopen. My first question, who's telling you what to sign?
Who's telling me what to sign? Oh, the ballpoint's on this guy. No one, Greg. How did you get this show? I have broken crayons, I know, funnier than you. Oh, you know, I hear you used to date my sister until she wanted someone bigger, so she switched to a golf pencil.
Wow. I thought maybe you were going to have some actual answers to these questions and not just insult me. Why did you pardon so many bad criminals?
I wanted to get back at people who keep treating me like some sort of lowlife, Greg. You know, sucking on me to quit smoking, using me to write Third Eye Blind lyrics. Rock bottom was when they had me signing Jesse Waters packages from hymns.
So now that Biden's out of office, what are you going to be signing now?
Mostly bad checks, permission slips, forging life insurance for people about to get murdered. Just once I'd like to sign Dolly Parton's boobs. I'd probably run out of ink, though, if you know what I mean.
Well, thank you, Autopen, for not enlightening us on this scandal.
Welcome, Greg.
Bye-bye. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He now owns a soccer team, making him even more boring. Host of Fox and Friends and One Nation, Brian Kilmeade. She talks so fast her tonsils are sponsored by NASCAR. Co-host of Outnumbered, Emily Campagno. He looks like the guy who goes to rehab to sell more drugs. Comedian Adam Hunter. And her audience went from Alice in Chains to Life Alert bracelets. Host of Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy. Brian, I know this is hard for you to kind of imagine because no one ever asks you for your signature. What do you think is going on with the Autopen, and can this be undone?
Well, we're going to get there, but I think first is panic.
Yeah.
When that doctor showed up last week and took the fifth when asked about his cognitive test and when did you know about the cancer, he would not answer a question. And then his assistant showed up and answered some questions, except for ones which said, did you ever have to wake him up? So he had to quickly pick up the phone and call the New York Times. First time he's done that in 4 years to say, I did everything. And then little by little, it comes out he did nothing.
Yeah.
It reveals that he had other people deciding what he roughly shaped would be a series of pardons to the tune of 4,000. So there's nothing adding up here. And once again, Joe Biden made things worse by speaking. And here's the question. What did he actually do? And it brings me to you.
Yes.
Because people look at your monologue and they say it's so funny, it's so insightful, it's so you.
Oh,
but no one's ever seen you in the writing room. No one's ever seen you on a conference call. We see you in the hall. You're not funny. There is some scandal here that has yet to bubble up. And that's why I think you're so aggressively pursuing the Autopen story. That's my story.
How dare he? I think we know why Steve Doocy moved to Florida. Emily, you are a hot, sexy lawyer, which makes me wonder if you actually ever practiced law. Give us the legal ramifications. Is this all going to end with just a bunch of us whining, or will something actually happen to this? This is a scandal that needs closure.
Yeah, I mean, as an American, God, I hope not. And as an attorney, it better not. Because here's the thing, in actual criminal justice, civilly too, all across the country, a judge cannot stamp a decision. You can stamp copies, you cannot stamp the original order. A judge cannot give an oral order. Everything is null and void unless it is signed by hand from the judge and then also filed with the court. Cases have gone up to the Supreme Court arguing these things. Is it okay if the judge did this? Well, he told me, and then the aide did it. None of it is okay. And so when you contrast that against the most sacred, crucial decision vested by the Constitution in just one commander-in-chief and one executive authority here in the country, you're telling me it would be okay for him to say it in a meeting that then that aide told another aide and another aide, and then it was an email and it was a category? Absolutely not. Entire wills and estates and conveyances of property and entire business decisions. So much has been affected in this country of these vacated decisions because the judge didn't do it right. So if the president didn't do it right and he let out murderers on the basis of, oh, it was nonviolent, well, that black widow that was convicted on insurance fraud actually murdered 3 of her exes. That child that killed himself, his mother said, he destroyed our family, and now it's being destroyed again. Talking about the judge, and then now the president who commuted his sentence. The list goes on of the depths of despair that the victims are in. They are reeling from what this president did. He absolutely did not do it with sound mind. He didn't do it himself, and so yes, there will be accountability.
All right, Adam. I'm sure you're kind of measuring what you'll say because you know one day you might need a pardon.
It's true. And I know who I'll have to build a time machine to go back to when he was president and get one.
Yes.
But it's crazy because, like, at this point, Trump is just calling him Autopen.
Yes.
And he's calling the View Pigpen. But that Autopen did have a mind of its own. At one point, it said it was voting for Trump. But yeah, he actually did admit. He said I didn't individually look at who I was pardoning. I put them all as groups, which is insane. I mean, because like there were people that were in jail for crack, and he just put Hunter's friends.
Yeah. Hannity, the last word to you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
So here we go. The Autopen. It's like Auto Universe, but much more offensive, and you can't go around kicking the tires. I'm surprised that Democrats aren't getting on board here because now they can throw Biden under the bus.
Yes.
Who cares? People are making millions of dollars writing crappy books about how bad the Biden presidency was, especially at the end. And if they could use this to somehow curtail Trump's power, I'm so surprised that they haven't jumped on the bandwagon. Because there are very few things that Republicans and Democrats can agree on right now, like misuse of the Autopen Autopen is wrong. Propping up a vegetable who has no cognitive ability, that is wrong. Saying that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, that is wrong. That's one of the few things that Democrats...
How'd that even come up?
Yeah.
It was like
I've
Tiger
not heard
King.
anything about that.
Like one of the few things that we can all agree on.
I know. We were all told, like, Epstein to hang in there.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's like if you see, and this is what's really tragic about this, is the Autopen is reserved for the President of the United States. If you see Vince Neil now in his present condition, his hands are like this. They are gnarled,
And
just
he's still...
dried up branches because he had to sign so many breasts. If he had had the Autopen, he'd be like this. Yes.
That's a beautiful story.
Right.
A beautiful story. We must move on because we have so much more to talk about. Up next, Barack's Tough Talk.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.